Hermes Trismegistus is one of the most enigmatic and revered figures in the history of spirituality and wisdom. Though he exists in the blurry intersection between myth and reality, his influence on the world of esoteric thought, alchemy, and mysticism cannot be overstated. Often regarded as a god-man, Hermes Trismegistus is seen as the perfect blend of the ancient Egyptian deity Thoth, the god of wisdom, writing, and magic, and the Greek Hermes, the god of communication, knowledge, and travelers. His name, Trismegistus, which means thrice great, suggests that he was a master of alchemy, philosophy, and spiritual enlightenment, a title implying his supreme knowledge of both earthly and celestial mysteries. The teachings attributed to Hermes Trismegistus form the foundation of the Hermetic tradition, a path that merges ancient Egyptian spiritual wisdom with Greek philosophical thought. These teachings have influenced a wide variety of mystical and occult schools of thought, from alchemy and astrology to magic and mysticism, making Hermes Trismegistus an indispensable figure in the development of Western esoteric traditions. His wisdom has been passed down through the centuries in the form of the Hermetic Corpus, a collection of texts that outline his understanding of the universe, human nature, and the path to enlightenment. At the core of Hermes Trismegistus's teachings is the belief that humanity is divinely connected to the universe and the divine, and that through understanding the laws of the cosmos, individuals can achieve spiritual transformation. The Hermetic path is not merely about external practices, but about aligning oneself with universal principles that govern both the material and spiritual realms. The greatest secret of Hermeticism lies in recognizing the interconnectedness of all things and realizing that true wisdom comes from within. As we align our minds and hearts with divine will, the timeless wisdom of Hermes Trismegistus offers a framework not only for personal enlightenment, but for understanding the mysteries of life, death, and the universe itself. His teachings transcend time and remain profoundly relevant in the modern world, guiding seekers towards spiritual mastery and a deeper understanding of the inner workings of both the mind and the cosmos. The wisdom of Hermes Trismegistus is primarily encapsulated in the Hermetic Corpus, a collection of writings that serve as the foundation of the Hermetic tradition. These texts, which date back to the early centuries of the Common Era, represent an integration of Greek philosophy, particularly Platonic and Stoic ideas, with Egyptian religious principles. The Hermetic Corpus is not a single book, but rather a set of writings that cover a wide range of topics: alchemy, astrology, spiritual enlightenment, and the nature of the universe. One of the central themes found throughout the Hermetic Corpus is the idea that the universe is a reflection of divine thought, a living expression of a higher intelligence. The Hermetic teachings suggest that by understanding the laws that govern the universe, individuals can align themselves with divine will and unlock the secrets of creation. The principles and truths revealed in the Hermetic texts provide a roadmap for those seeking to reach spiritual perfection and to transform their minds and spirit. One of the most well-known and foundational texts in the Hermetic Corpus is the Emerald Tablet, a short yet profound document attributed to Hermes Trismegistus himself. The text contains the famous phrase, "As above, so below, as below, so above," which expresses the universal principle of correspondence, the idea that the microcosm, the human being, mirrors the macrocosm, the universe. This principle is central to the Hermetic philosophy, suggesting that everything is connected, and by understanding the small, we can understand the vastness of the cosmos. Another important text is the Kybalion, a work that was published in the early 20th century, but is heavily influenced by the Hermetic teachings of ancient Egypt and Greece. The Kybalion outlines the 7 Hermetic Principles, which serve as the cornerstone of Hermetic thought. These principles include the principles of mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Each of these principles offers insight into how the universe operates and how we can tap into the forces that shape our reality. Additionally, the Divine Pymander, or Poemandres, is a key text in the Hermetic tradition. a philosophical and mystical treatise that describes the creation of the universe, the nature of the divine, and the path towards spiritual awakening. In this text, Hermes Trismegistus shares his visions of the cosmos, showing how all creation emanates from a divine mind and that the ultimate goal of human existence is to return to that divine source. The teachings contained within the Hermetic corpus offer spiritual instruction in a variety of areas, from the nature of the soul and its relationship to the physical body, to the art of alchemy, which is viewed not only as the transmutation of metals, but as a spiritual process of transforming the self. The Hermetic texts encourage the practitioner to seek inner knowledge, to know oneself, and to align with the cosmic order that governs the universe. Though the Hermetic corpus is ancient, the teachings continue to have a profound impact on both modern spiritual practices and occult traditions. Many contemporary mystics, occultists, and even psychologists draw on these texts to explore the nature of human consciousness, the divine, and the interconnectedness of all life. The wisdom of Hermes Trismegistus continues to inspire those who seek to uncover the deeper truths of existence and navigate the path of spiritual enlightenment. At the heart of the Hermetic tradition lies a set of universal laws, the Seven Hermetic Principles, that govern the way the universe operates. These principles, outlined in texts like the Kybalion, offer profound insights into the nature of reality and provide practical tools for spiritual growth and personal transformation. By understanding and applying these principles, individuals can unlock the mysteries of the universe and align themselves with the forces of creation. Each of the Seven Hermetic Principles serves as a guide to understanding the fundamental laws of existence. These principles are as follows. The principle of mentalism. The universe is mental. The first and most foundational principle of Hermeticism is the idea that the universe is mental. This means that everything in existence, both the physical and spiritual realms, is a creation of divine thought. According to the principle of mentalism, the universe is not a random or chaotic place, but rather a living mental construct that is shaped and sustained by the thoughts and consciousness of the divine mind. This principle teaches that our thoughts are creative forces, shaping not only our inner world, but the external reality we experience. If the universe is mental, then by altering our thoughts and aligning our minds with the divine, we can influence and transform the world around us. This is the foundation of manifestation and mental alchemy, where thought becomes the tool for spiritual evolution. The principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. This principle speaks to the idea of interconnectedness in the universe. It asserts that the macrocosm, the universe, and the microcosm, the individual, are mirrors of one another. The same laws that govern the stars and the cosmos also apply to the workings of the human mind and soul. The famous Hermetic phrase, as above, so below, as below, so above, expresses the idea that there is no true separation between the spiritual and the material, the divine and the human. Everything in the universe is connected through a series of correspondences. Understanding the patterns of one level of existence can lead to a deeper understanding of the other. By recognizing the correspondence between the inner and outer worlds, we can begin to understand and navigate the cosmic order more effectively. The principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves. The principle of vibration asserts that everything in the universe is in a constant state of motion. From the smallest particles to the largest celestial bodies, everything is vibrating at a specific frequency. This applies not only to physical matter, but to thoughts, emotions, and even spiritual energy. By understanding the principle of vibration, we can learn how to raise our own vibrational frequency. Emotions like fear, anger, and hatred resonate at low frequencies, while love, peace, and compassion vibrate at higher frequencies. By aligning our personal vibration with higher frequencies, we can access deeper states of consciousness, attract more positive experiences, and manifest our desires with greater ease. The principle of polarity. Everything is dual. This principle teaches that everything in the universe exists in pairs of opposites, light and dark, hot and cold, good and evil, and so on. These opposites are not truly separate but are two extremes of the same thing. For example, heat and cold are both expressions of temperature. They are opposite ends of a spectrum. The principle of polarity suggests that by understanding and working with these polarities, we can transform one state into another. If we experience a negative situation, we can shift our perception to find its opposite, its positive counterpart. This principle is key to understanding the alchemy of transformation, where spiritual growth involves moving from lower states of being to higher states of consciousness. The principle of rhythm. Everything flows in and out. According to the principle of rhythm, everything in the universe operates in cyclical patterns, so everything moves through a rhythm of influx and outflow. Just as the seasons change, the tides ebb and flow, and the breath cycles in and out, everything in the universe operates according to cycles of change and transformation. This principle teaches that by understanding the rhythm of life, we can ride the waves of these cycles, aligning our actions and energy with the natural flow of the universe. By attuning ourselves to the rhythms of life, we can find balance, and instead of resisting the changes, we can flow with them, moving gracefully through times of both expansion and contraction. At the heart of Hermeticism lies a deep commitment to spiritual awakening and transformation. The teachings of Hermes Trismegistus are not merely theoretical. They are intended as practical wisdom for those seeking to align with the divine and transform both their inner and outer worlds. The Hermetic path is one of continual evolution, a journey toward greater self-awareness, wisdom, and spiritual mastery. Central to this path is the idea of alchemy. But it is important to understand that Hermetic alchemy is not simply the transmutation of base metals into gold. In the Hermetic tradition, alchemy refers to the spiritual transformation of the individual. Just as alchemists sought to refine and purify substances, practitioners of Hermeticism seek to purify their minds, hearts, and spirits, elevating themselves to higher states of being. The Hermetic path is, in many ways, about the great work, also known as the magnum opus, the process of refining and perfecting the self. This work involves purification of the body and mind, the transmutation of negative emotions and desires, and the ultimate ascension of the soul toward union with the divine. It is an inner journey that reflects the outer work of spiritual alchemy. Alchemy, transmutation of the self. In Hermeticism, alchemy begins with the recognition that the soul is not separate from the divine, and that the human being is capable of achieving union with the divine through a process of spiritual refinement. The Hermetic texts often describe the soul as being in a state of imperfection and in need of purification, which is achieved through the transmutation of the lower self, often symbolized by lead or base metals, into a higher, more enlightened state, symbolized by gold or spiritual purity. The process of spiritual alchemy involves several stages, the first of which is often the contemplation of one's imperfections and the recognition of one's lower nature. This awareness is the first step toward healing and transformation. Once a person acknowledges the base aspects of their character, such as anger, fear, jealousy, or greed, they can begin the work of transmuting these negative qualities into their higher forms: love, courage, wisdom, and generosity. This alchemical process is symbolized in the Hermetic texts as the transformation of lead into gold, where the lead represents the impurities of the soul and the gold represents the spiritual enlightenment that results from inner work. The goal of Hermetic alchemy is not just personal transformation, but also the restoration of harmony with the divine flow of the universe. Hermetic magic, harnessing divine laws for change. Another core element of the Hermetic tradition is magic, not magic in the superficial sense of tricks and illusions, but in the ancient understanding of using the divine laws to bring about change in the material and spiritual worlds. Hermetic magic is the art of aligning with the cosmic forces and directing them toward specific goals or intentions. Hermetic magic is built on the idea that the universe is governed by immutable laws, the same laws that govern nature, the stars, and the mind. By understanding and applying these laws, individuals can influence their own destiny and create changes in their lives. Hermetic magic, therefore, is not about controlling or manipulating the universe, but about aligning oneself with the divine order and becoming a conscious co-creator of one's own reality. One of the most important tools in Hermetic magic is the mind, which is understood to be the most powerful force in creation. The principle of mentalism teaches that the universe itself is mental in nature, and that everything in existence is a manifestation of divine thought. By changing the thoughts and vibrations within the mind, the practitioner can influence their external circumstances. This aligns with modern-day practices of visualization, affirmations, and intention setting. In Hermetic magic, rituals, symbols, and sigils are often used to channel divine energy and direct it toward a specific goal. These tools act as visual representations of the will, allowing the practitioner to focus their intentions and align with universal energies to bring about transformation. The act of performing rituals or creating symbols is not seen as controlling the divine forces, but rather as a way of expressing alignment with the greater cosmic order. Spiritual awakening, ascension, and union with the divine. The ultimate goal of the Hermetic path is spiritual awakening, a state of awareness in which the individual recognizes their oneness with the divine and the universe. This state of awakening is described in Hermeticism as ascension, the process by which the soul rises above the material world and reaches higher planes of consciousness. The teachings of Hermes Trismegistus have had a profound and lasting influence on the development of Western thought throughout history. From the early Greeks and Romans to the Renaissance and beyond, Hermetic ideas have shaped the intellectual and spiritual landscape of the West. While Hermeticism was primarily a mystical and philosophical tradition, its influence has extended to various fields, including alchemy, astrology, psychology, philosophy, and even modern science. The influence on ancient and classical thought. The Hermetic tradition was deeply intertwined with Greek philosophy. The fusion of Greek and Egyptian wisdom in the figure of Hermes Trismegistus created a philosophical and spiritual system that was highly influential during the Hellenistic period. In particular, the teachings of Hermes had a significant impact on Platonic and Neoplatonic thought. Hermetic ideas about the nature of reality, the mind and the soul, resonated with philosophers like Plato, Plotinus, and Pythagoras, who emphasized the pursuit of higher knowledge and the connection between the divine and the material worlds. Hermeticism also influenced early Christian thought. Some scholars argue that early Christian theologians were familiar with Hermetic texts, which may have influenced their ideas about the relationship between the human soul and the divine, as well as the spiritual path to salvation. Though Hermeticism is not directly related to Christianity, certain parallels between Hermetic teachings and Christian mysticism can be seen in the Gnostic traditions, which were an important part of the early Christian church. The Renaissance and the Hermetic Revival. One of the most significant periods in the history of Hermeticism was the Renaissance, when there was a revival of interest in ancient wisdom and esoteric knowledge. During this period, scholars, philosophers, and magicians rediscovered the Hermetic texts and sought to integrate them into the intellectual framework of the time. The Renaissance Hermetic Revival played a crucial role in shaping the development of Western mysticism and the occult sciences. One of the key figures in this revival was the philosopher Giordano Bruno, who was deeply influenced by Hermetic thought. Bruno's work in metaphysics and cosmology was heavily informed by Hermetic principles, particularly the idea that the universe is a reflection of divine thought. His writings emphasized the interconnectedness of all things and the infinite nature of the universe, ideas that echoed the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus. Another influential figure during the Renaissance was Marsilio Ficino, a philosopher and scholar who translated many of the Hermetic texts into Latin. making them accessible to the European intellectual world. Ficino's translation of the Corpus Hermeticum was instrumental in bringing Hermetic philosophy to the forefront of Renaissance thought, influencing thinkers like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Niccolò Machiavelli. The Hermetic revival during the Renaissance also led to the development of alchemy and astrology as important branches of knowledge. Alchemists, inspired by the Hermetic teachings, believed that they could use their understanding of spiritual alchemy to transform both their own consciousness and the material world. This era marked a shift in Western thought, as magic and science began to merge, with Hermeticism serving as a bridge between the two. Hermeticism and modern Western thought. Hermeticism continued to influence Western thought into the modern era, particularly in the development of esoteric traditions and occult movements. During the 18th and 19th centuries, the rise of Theosophy, Rosicrucianism, and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn revived interest in Hermetic teachings. These organizations sought to preserve and expand upon the wisdom of Hermes Trismegistus, integrating it with other mystical and spiritual traditions from around the world. One of the most notable figures in this movement was Aleister Crowley, a prominent occultist and magician who was deeply influenced by Hermetic philosophy. Crowley's work in ritual magic and Thelema, his system of spiritual philosophy, draws heavily from Hermetic principles, particularly the concept of personal will and alignment with divine law. Hermetic ideas also had an impact on the development of modern psychology, particularly through the work of Carl Jung. Jung's exploration of the collective unconscious and archetypes was influenced by Hermetic concepts of the mind and spiritual transformation. His interest in alchemy as a metaphor for psychological transformation is a direct reflection of the Hermetic path of spiritual ascent. In the fast-paced, material-driven world of today, the wisdom of Hermes Trismegistus may seem distant, yet its teachings remain profoundly relevant. The Hermetic principles are not just ancient philosophies, but timeless truths that can offer guidance and clarity in modern life. Whether one is seeking spiritual enlightenment, personal growth, or manifestation of desires, the Hermetic tradition provides a deep reservoir of knowledge that addresses the eternal questions of human existence and our relationship with the universe. The Hermetic path in modern spirituality. The modern world has seen a resurgence in interest in spirituality and self-awareness. As more people search for deeper meaning beyond the material, the Hermetic teachings offer practical wisdom for those on a path of self-mastery and personal transformation. In particular, the Seven Hermetic Principles provide a framework for understanding the universe and one's place within it. The principle of mentalism, for instance, speaks directly to the idea of the power of thought, the understanding that the mind shapes reality. In the realm of modern manifestation practices, the idea that thoughts create reality is echoed by law of attraction teachings, which assert that what we focus on manifests in our lives. The principle of mentalism encourages practitioners to take responsibility for their thoughts and actions, recognizing that they are not passive recipients of life's circumstances, but active creators of their own realities. Additionally, the principle of correspondence, as above, so below, reminds us that the spiritual and material are intimately connected. In modern spirituality, this can be understood as the interconnectedness of all things, that the spiritual life is not separate from the material world. This holistic view is shared by eco-spirituality and mindfulness practices, which emphasize the importance of aligning one's physical life with spiritual values, from being conscious of our consumption to living in harmony with nature. The principle of vibration, which asserts that everything is in motion, is particularly relevant in the context of energy healing and practices like Reiki, sound therapy, and chakra alignment. These practices are grounded in the understanding that all things, including our bodies, thoughts, and emotions, have a specific frequency, and by adjusting these frequencies, we can bring ourselves into balance and health. Hermeticism and personal growth. In the modern context, Hermeticism offers powerful tools for personal growth. The seven principles provide a foundation for self-reflection and empowerment. By incorporating these principles into daily life, individuals can gain clarity about their desires, actions, and intentions. For example, the principle of rhythm speaks to the cycles of life, the ebb and flow of energy. Recognizing these rhythms allows individuals to move with life's natural cycles instead of resisting them, leading to greater peace and adaptability in the face of challenges. The principle of cause and effect provides a valuable understanding of the karma, or consequences of one's actions. In modern terms, this principle can be applied to the concept of accountability, understanding that our actions, both conscious and unconscious, have repercussions. This awareness encourages mindfulness and conscious decision-making, empowering individuals to take control of their lives. Through alchemy, Hermeticism offers a metaphor for personal transformation. Alchemy is not just about turning lead into gold, but about the transmutation of the self-transforming base desires into enlightened wisdom. Modern self-help practices and spiritual growth methodologies are all about this type of inner alchemy, where individuals work to transmute negative emotions, limiting beliefs, and unhealthy patterns into higher consciousness and self-realization. Hermeticism and quantum physics. One of the most intriguing ways in which Hermeticism is relevant today is through its surprising connections to quantum physics. The principle of mentalism, which states that the universe is mental in nature, aligns with modern scientific discoveries that the mind plays a crucial role in shaping reality. In quantum physics, the observer effect shows that our perception can influence the outcome of experiments, suggesting that consciousness has a direct impact on the material world. Furthermore, the principle of vibration, which asserts that everything is in constant motion, mirrors the scientific understanding that all matter is made up of vibrating particles. This alignment between ancient spiritual wisdom and modern science indicates that Hermetic principles may provide a bridge between spirituality and modern physics, showing that both realms are pointing towards similar truths about the nature of reality. The teachings of Hermes Trismegistus are as profound and relevant today as they were when they first emerged. His wisdom, encapsulated in the Hermetic corpus, offers timeless principles that transcend cultural boundaries and speak directly to the human spirit. Hermes Trismegistus's vision of the universe as a mental, interconnected, and divine creation provides a powerful framework for anyone seeking spiritual enlightenment, personal transformation, and a deeper understanding of the mysteries of existence. Through the Seven Hermetic Principles, we gain access to a system of universal laws that govern not only the material world, but the spiritual realms as well. These principles help us to transform our minds, align with divine forces, and live harmoniously within the natural cycles of life. The teachings encourage us to move from a state of ignorance to a state of enlightened awareness, where we are no longer passive observers of life, but active participants in the creation of our reality. The Hermetic path is one of self-discovery, alchemy, and spiritual awakening. It teaches that the true transformation comes not from external circumstances, but from within through understanding the laws of the universe, refining our character, and harmonizing our mind, body, and spirit with the divine. The journey is one of continuous growth, as we shed our lower nature and rise toward higher states of consciousness. As we face the challenges of the modern world, the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus provide us with valuable tools for navigating the complexities of life. Whether it is through the practice of mentalism, the application of the principle of vibration, or the transformation of the self through alchemy, the Hermetic tradition offers powerful insights into the nature of reality and the path to personal and spiritual fulfillment. By embracing the wisdom of Hermeticism, we can unlock the divine potential within ourselves and become co-creators of our reality. The ancient knowledge passed down through the Hermetic texts is not just for those seeking mystical truths, but for anyone who wishes to align with the flow of the universe, manifest their desires, and live in harmony with the divine order. The wisdom of Hermes Trismegistus is an invitation to dive deep into the mysteries of existence, to seek knowledge beyond the surface, and to recognize our divine connection to the cosmos. As we continue to explore and apply these timeless teachings, we remember that the answers to life's greatest questions lie not in the external world, but within our own minds and hearts. By unlocking the secrets of the Hermetic tradition, we can gain a deeper understanding of the universe, the self, and the divine forces that shape our reality. In doing so, we step onto the path of spiritual mastery, aligned with the divine flow of creation, and empowered to live lives of purpose, wisdom, and harmony.